Hello, my name is Doug Jensen, and I'd like to tell you about my new masterclass for Panasonic's S1H digital cinema camera. Now, you may have expected me to call the S1H a mirrorless camera, but to do so would be a huge injustice to the S1H. Why? Because as you'll see, it's in a totally different league from every other mirrorless camera currently on the market. If you ask me, all other DSLRs and mirrorless cameras up to this time have been designed with the needs of still photography in mind first, and video shooting is just tacked on as an afterthought. But the S1H flips that approach 180 degrees. It's designed to function as a full-featured, professional caliber cinema camera that just happens to also take 24 megapixel photos if you want to. The S1H isn't just a very good cinema camera, it is a game changer, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. The S1H is the first ever mirrorless camera, or DSLR, to obtain Netflix approval for use as the primary camera for Netflix original productions. And in case you don't know, Netflix has quite stringent regulations for what cameras and capture formats can be used. Approval of the tiny little S1H is significant, not just for Netflix producers, but also for the industry as a whole. For the first time, professionals in the television and high-end video production industry can take full advantage of the benefits of using a compact, mirrorless camera without compromising on the image quality that bigger, more expensive cinema cameras and E&G cameras can provide. In fact, if you want to see how the S1H stacks up to other cameras with similar capabilities, then you really need to put it alongside popular cinema cameras like Panasonic's EVA1 and VariCam LT, Canon's C300, and Sony's FS5 and FS7. Those are actually the cameras that are the S1H's closest peers. But even then, the S1H is still in a class of its own. None of those other cameras has a full-frame 6K sensor with the option of recording in 6K or oversampled 4K and HD. And only some of those other cameras offer 10-bit 422 4K internal recording or 4K at 60 frames per second. Not to mention full-frame HD at 180 frames per second. The S1H offers high bitrate formats at up to 400 megabits per second, both intra-frame and long-op codecs to suit the needs of different types of productions, a Super 35mm crop mode, timecode in and out for frame-accurate synchronization on multi-camera shoots, an excellent high-resolution OLED viewfinder, a flip-out LCD monitor that can be rotated to any angle, even to face forward, dual native ISO, which provides low noise and maximum dynamic range in all lighting conditions, V-Log with up to 14 stops of dynamic range, customizable Rec 709 scene files for WYSIWYG shooting, customizable peaking and focus assist magnification, 2 types of customizable zebras, a waveform monitor, unlimited recording times, high quality 48 kHz 24-bit audio, 5-axis in-body stabilization that is so good you'd swear a tripod is being used, full manual control over all exposure and white balance settings, SMPTE color bars for calibrating external monitors, a fully customizable user menu, the ability to save and recall custom configurations and share those settings with other cameras, more than a dozen customizable function buttons with literally thousands of possible combinations, anamorphic shooting modes, a full-size HDMI connector, 2 identical SDXC card slots, a low-pass filter for reducing moire, tally lights front and rear, and finally, thanks to its Leica L mount, the S1H can be easily adapted to use hundreds of popular lenses, including those from Canon, Nikon, and even PL cinema lenses. Having excellent onboard 10-bit 4K codecs eliminates the need for an external recorder. Having an excellent high-resolution OLED viewfinder eliminates the need for an external monitor or third-party viewfinder. And having the ability to record 2 discrete channels of 48 kHz 24-bit audio eliminates the need for capturing audio on a second device, and also the hassle of syncing those files in post. And when you eliminate all those other accessories, not only you save money, but you may not even need a cage, additional grips, or other stuff that adds weight and bulkiness to the camera. The S1H is the first mirrorless camera that truly is ready to start shooting professional caliber video right out of the box. Speaking of audio, for a few extra bucks you can attach Panasonic's optional XLR adapter to the hot shoe, and then you've instantly got 2 XLR jacks with all the bells and whistles you'd expect. The adapter transfers sound directly to the camera while getting power from the camera with no extra cables, wires, or batteries. The adapter literally becomes an integral part of the camera that can be removed whenever you don't need it. I've only had my S1H for a few weeks, and already it has become my go-to camera for shooting sit-down interviews and all other times when shallow depth of field is desired by me or my client. But like every other camera I've owned during my 40-year career working in the television industry, the S1H has its share of shortcomings as well. Now fortunately, none of them are deal breakers for me, but in the interest of full disclosure, I think I should mention a few of them so you can't say I didn't warn you. Now, like all mirrorless cameras, there are no built-in ND filters. It's got a great-looking OLED viewfinder, but it can't be angled towards your eye like a true camcorder's can. It has peaking, and it works pretty well, but it's only the colored type of peaking. There are only 2 channels of audio. There are no options to change how the audio channels are mixed in your headphones. Autofocus is not good enough to provide professional results. And although the camera does have a full-size HDMI connector, it does not have HD SDI. But hang on, this video is not intended to be a review of the S1H or a buying guide or a camera shootout. I'm actually here to tell you about the 4-hour masterclass I've produced that will teach you how to maximize the performance of your S1H if your intention is to shoot professional video. And I stress the word video because my masterclass doesn't spend any time at all on the photographic capabilities of the S1H. My training is 100% focused on using the S1H as a high-end digital cinema camera, which is clearly exactly what Panasonic has designed it for. If you want to use the S1H to take photos too, that's great, it can do it, but my masterclass won't provide much help in that area. For more than 15 years, I've been producing masterclass training videos and field guide books to help fellow professionals like you get up to speed on their new video cameras as quickly and painlessly as possible. I've produced in-depth training for the Sony FS7, FS5, F55, Z280, Z90, F800, and many other cameras. I'm not a YouTube reviewer, and I'm not a photographer who can't explain how to use features and functions that are alien to most photographers, but are essential to professional television and video shooters. I know what you need to know and what features and functions on the S1H matter most, because I have nearly 40 years of experience working as a cameraman in the television and high-end video production industries, with credits that include 60 Minutes, the Olympics, Survivor, Eco Challenge Fiji, 2020, Nat Geo, documentaries, reality shows, news programs, and literally hundreds of corporate productions, which, if you want to know the truth, is where the real money is. But that's a topic for another day. I've spent more than 6 weeks thoroughly testing the S1H with charts and scopes in the studio and out in the field with real-world shooting situations. I broke the camera down to its core functions to see what features are worth using and which features should be avoided. I've determined what I think are the best practices and methods of shooting with the camera. And the hardest part of all, I have distilled my findings down into 18 chapters organized by topic so that I can share my findings with you. In other words, I've done the time-consuming work of testing, analyzing, and trial and error experimentation so you don't have to. And don't worry, even though my masterclass has to be about 4 hours long in order to cover everything you need to know, I'm not going to waste your time with generic filler stuff like explaining depth of field, composition, how codecs work, or the intricate details of camera sensor technology. I'm not saying those aren't important subjects, but they're not unique to the S1H, and so I won't waste your time covering them. Another way I make the camera easier for you to master is by skipping over unnecessary features that often don't even work as advertised. Believe me, I don't feel any obligation to completely explain every little tiny feature on the camera when we both know perfectly well that less than 1 person in 1,000 will use some of them. I mean, if you want a comprehensive guide that provides a 1-sentence description of every feature the S1H offers, but says hardly anything at all about how to actually use those features, then you've already got that with Panasonic's official operation manual. On the other hand, my job as I see it, and what you're going to hire me to do, is to cut through all the clutter of the camera and boil it all down to just the key information that you really need to understand in order to get excellent results with your new camera. If that approach sounds good to you, great, because that's what my masterclass is all about. For your convenience, you don't have to travel great distances to attend my workshop or sit in a classroom all day. My masterclass is available worldwide via 24/7 on-demand streaming at Vimeo, and you can watch it over and over again if you want to. Major topics include choosing the right recording format to suit different needs, setting exposure quickly, precisely, and consistently, selecting and customizing photo styles, choosing a crop mode, setting white balance accurately or creatively, customizing your camera's buttons and interface to make operation more efficient, understanding the menus and how to create your own custom menu system, exposing for vlog, saving and recalling preference files, jam syncing timecode with other cameras, recording flawless audio with or without the optional XLR adapter, using the camera's focus assist tools, choosing the right stabilization options, shooting slow motion and time lapse, and much more. So if you're ready to save a lot of time mastering your S1H, then I invite you to sign up for my masterclass and let's get down to business. I'm ready to go whenever you are. See you soon.